What was your when you were coming out of high school? What was your recruiting process like compared to what it looks like now as a kid coming out of high school?
Well, for the first thing was it was just much later. I didn't even think about college until going into my senior year. And that's when coaches could start calling. And I didn't even have a phone that you could text at the time, but they would call me on my house phone and we'd talk for 45 minutes and they could call once a week, But still when it comes down to it, it's going to be the relationships, and I felt that I built good relationships with a couple different coaches, some things that really stuck out to me from the recruiting side of it, and ultimately where I felt most at home was Pitt. So there's a lot of things that changed. What you want to talk NIL and things like that, but
Sure.
the basis of it, when it comes down to it, is where do you feel comfortable? Where do you have a good relationship with the team, the coaches, and where do you think you can be the best at? And where can you win?
Were you at Lehigh with Santoro?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
I was their volunteer assistant for 2 years.
right. Seems like a pretty good guy to learn from. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I've never I've never heard one coach say a bad word about him. What do you think his greatest asset is over at Lehigh?
I mean that's one of them right there. It's just like everybody you talk to, you can that they're gonna have something good to say about them, and I'll stand there and say the same thing. I don't have one bad thing to say about Coach Santoro. I was fortunate that he brought me to Lehigh. That was my first coaching position, and you know really taught me a lot. And it was a great time to be at Lehigh too. They were just getting a new facility, and things were going well. And Darian Cruz, the Cruz brothers were coming into the program, and so they had some really good wrestlers that were fun to coach and be in the room with every day.
Yeah, he's again like multifaceted, right? Like, and I know you work with Keith Gavin, and like I always talk about him in terms of like you don't have to be a five-star blue chip athlete to be a good wrestler because Keith Gavin made a lot of things work
Yeah.
without having an overabundance of athletic ability.
You look at those two guys right there, Pat, Keith, and then Nino as well, and there's 0 state titles and 4 national titles at Pitt.
That's pretty impressive. That
That's not
like
a bad
that's
resume.
pretty darn good. Like think about like when you say it like that, that that's really impressive.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
man, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah,
Pat
those
never
are our
won a state
last
title.
3 national champions at Pitt, and none of them won a state title in Pennsylvania.